why the San Juan Mountains are my favorite mountain range. I'll get into that. But first of all, I'm on the northern arm of the Grenadiers. This is the main ridge spine from that peak, those peaks out there. Along this rugged line, these are the Trinities. And then there we got Vestal and Arrow. I've been up those two before. I want to do the Trinities someday. Today was not the day. My dog's out there. She can't do those. And I wanted to do the northern arm of the Grenadiers, which is this northern extension. Peak 2. Actually, this is peak 3. That's peak 2. Maybe it's vice versa. Sorry, this is really hard to line up. Out that away. I'm trying to get to that. It looks really far, but it's only like a little over a mile, I think. But no easy way to get off if a storm rolls in. But look at the sky. Like, there's no storms coming today. We're good. That's Storm King Peak right there. Might try and do that tomorrow. We'll see how it is looking on the route because I'll have my dog. I can tie her to a rock if I got to. I've been backpacking out here. Why is this my favorite range? One, the geography is amazing. The Grenadiers, these are the most spectacular shaped peaks in all of Colorado. I first saw these over a decade ago from one of the 14ers out over yonder, Handy's Peak. And I was like, what are those? This is the first time I was on Handy's. I've been up there a couple times. And this guy knew what they were. I was like, oh yeah, those are the Grenadiers. That's Vestal and Arrow. And I saw Pigeon too, which you can't see right now, but that's just a couple miles south. And I was like, I gotta get there someday. But it took me like over 10 years to get there. It's a long access point, but I was climbing other peaks in the north of the range when I lived in Gunnison, Colorado. And now I've been living here for a couple years, and I've been exploring all these different peaks and different routes and off-trail routes, and I love it. One, it's stunning. There's nothing else quite like it, shaped like this. There's no mountain range really this vast with this many highlands. Nothing quite like it in the world. There's bigger mountains, taller mountains, but the ranges are shaped different. And this one's really cool because it is the remains of a massive volcanic field. Think like all around me here, imagine 30 million years ago, there was like about 15 volcanoes about as big as Mount Rainier, which is a pretty big volcano that's up in Washington State. And they were more conically shaped, so like a cone, right? And they erupted, they weathered down over the years. Several glacier ages came and went and shaped them and sculpted them. And now they look like this. Can you see this lake down here? It's on one of the benches. It's really hard to point with this thing. You gotta line it up. Beep. It's out there. You can just see the edge of it. Maybe you can't on the video. But yeah, there's just like lakes perched out on the edge of this plunge into these deep valleys. This is where the Colorado Trail goes. People hike from Denver to Durango. And this is the last stretch if you're going from Denver to Durango. And it comes through all those meadows out there, that tundra-like stuff, and then it drops into this canyon and goes out. And this is also how you get to climbing these peaks, which I've never done the Wham Ridge. That like perfect sweep right there. It's really hard to aim with this. It's all backwards. That out there, that sweeping ridge. I have friends that have climbed it. They're badasses. I want the standard route on the backside, but it's still amazing to be up there. I might climb it someday. I need to do this traverse. But right now, I'm just kind of getting the lay of the land still, if you will. And yeah, I got a dream route that crosses the San Juans from south to north. And I think it could be done in 10-ish days, maybe 2 weeks. And right now it's July 10th or 11th. And I'm going to look into maybe trying that. I'll have 10 days off of work in the first 10 days of August. So stay tuned. Maybe I'll do it. I will need some coordination from friends. Oh, down there's a pillar of stone that's still standing. Maybe you can or can't see. It's that little dark spot right about there. I saw that from over there 2 summers ago, and the rest of the mountain's all eroded. And there's just a bunch of loose rocks, but that thing is standing. That's the one I saw. It's so cool. Now I'm here, and I looked at this ridge from over there behind me here. That's White Dome. It's way easier to point with the finger. White Dome, really cool peak. There's a tree that grows above tree line. Tree line's around 12,000 here, give or take. And there's also on Vestal and Arrow right there, there's trees that grow well above 13,000, maybe 13.2, 13.4. But that's higher than tree line. It's so cool. I call them wizard trees. They're my buddies. And there's one on White Dome back there too. But yeah, you know, it's really hard to just try to walk every step, every ridge line in the San Juans, and some of them are too gnarly. So I'm kind of starting to accept that that's not going to happen. Ooh, cool crystal. Been seeing some really cool rocks and crystals out here. Just crystals exposed to the sun, just out amongst the scree. There's my dog going. That's Katana. Good girl. She's a mountain trooper dog with me. Yeah, I'll give you an idea of the route. We started behind White Dome over there. That one I pointed out, that pointy one. In Beartown. Really hard to get to. It takes 2.5 hours from the nearest town, Silverton. And that's where I live. And maybe almost 3 hours. And then walking many miles, camped one night last night at Vallecito Lake. It was amazing. Highest lake in the Vallecito drainage that fills the Vallecito Reservoir, which I love on down valley. And yeah, we're gonna try to get to that peak out there. It's just this lone isolated mesa, and you can really see pretty much all the San Juans around. There's so many. And I got the binocs, so I'll be doing some scoping. And then we're gonna go back. I made a gear cache on this ridge. It's taking about a half hour to get to here, so I'm timing it to see how long it's gonna take, but no storm's coming. Even if I'm getting off at 5:36, it'll be fine. Or catching sunset up here would be fine too. But we got some ways to go. We're gonna come down here past this lake, go along those slabs right there, and then go, there's a gap between the Trinities and Vestal, and apparently there's a route, and it should be a trail. It shouldn't be too bad. Right now it doesn't look like it goes at all, but apparently there's a way, and then it takes us down. We're on the backside of these three peaks, the Trinities, and there's a lake back there. We're gonna try to camp at the lake, and then tomorrow we'll try to summit Storm King, which you can't quite see it. It's back behind me. If the dog can make it, or if not, and it looks easy enough, I'll tie her up and she can wait for me. But that'll be sad. We don't like leaving each other. There's her. Katana loves the San Juans. She moved here from Fort Collins. She got rehomed by my neighbor, and where's your go, Bia? It's okay. She got rehomed. She was kind of a troublemaker because she didn't get to run free. I let her run free, and she loves these mountains, so that's cool. We got something in common. Ready? Let's keep going. We got a ways to go. Yeah, you could go more into it. I've seen it from the air, flying 36,000 feet cruising altitude, give or take. The best flight path is Denver to San Diego, or San Diego to Denver. And you can also, doing Durango to Denver, you fly over them too, but different routes, and you're not quite at the highest cruising altitude. But seeing them from 36,000 feet was mind-blowing, and it had been my dream to see all of them in one view, and that's so hard to do. You can't quite do it from the peaks, because, like, yeah, you can see most of them here, but, like, it stretches into New Mexico down there in the horizon, the hazy horizon, and then there's there's an arm that stretches pretty far east to the San Luis Valley in Colorado. You can't quite see them all. You can't see the outermost peaks. But one time I was flying back from San Diego, visiting my sister, flying to Denver. I'd been looking the whole way. I saw the Grand Canyon from the air. I was like, okay. And I put the blinds down. I have to do a little reading. Just rest a little. And then I only lasted like 5-10 minutes, and I just got this urge. I was like, wait a second, I should look. And I look out, like I could see ahead of the plane a little bit, right? Like I wasn't just looking to the side of the plane. I could see out a little bit at an angle, right? And I see what looked like this giant cluster of clouds, huge cluster of congregated clouds, and beyond it, a long, thin, skinny strip of clouds. I was like, those are some weird clouds. I wonder what those are. And then I get a little closer, and I'm like, we're flying, I don't know how fast jets fly, 500 miles per hour, moving towards these clouds at 500 miles per hour. And then I'm like, wait, those are the San Juans. And there was snow. It was winter, so I could see them. And then the thin strip behind it was the Sangre de Cristo range, which is over by the sand dunes. Runs down into New Mexico as well, by Taos. And I was like, wow, I'm seeing them all at once. And it was just so cool. And then we flew right over them. We flew over Durango. And I had just moved to Durango area. I lived in the mountains still at the time. But yeah, I saw him, and it was like a dream come true. It was like, sweet. And then turned around in Denver, and then because I was flying back to Durango, so we fly over him, and we land in Denver, and then turn around and fly right back to Durango. We flew over them again. Another time I flew over them flying to Denver as well. And we kind of went right over them south to north, like through this part that I've been seeing and you've been seeing on this video. And my friends were on that mountain right over there, climbing it to snowboard. Sorry, it's really hard to aim. That peak over there, but like the other face, the other side, doing a couloir. And I told them, I was like, I flew right over you guys, pretty much. I was probably more this way, a few miles that way, but close enough, right? Amazing, 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 amazing. So, wow, look at this. There's little ponds up here. This is that isolated mesa that I've been wanting to come on. Wow. I'm going to lose a little elevation here, but not bad. This is all easy walking. It's scree, but no crazy scrambling. And then we'll walk that ridge, hopefully get through that cluster of cliffy things there. Probably be fine. And then go on up to that next peak. And from there, I think I'll see a bunch of lakes that I've gone to and swam in. There's one there, but there's more. And last summer I did a 4-day trek across through some of this and ended up at those lakes as a through trek. So love this mountain range. If you can't tell, don't know why I'm telling you this, just wanted to share my joy and not have some ulterior motive behind my content, although there is. Because if you want to hear more about my story, about trying to find purpose in the digital age, and then how the landscape has always shaped my journey, and how it shapes all of our journeys, really. You can check out my upcoming memoir as of the time of this video shooting. It's called What's My Niche? I tried a bunch of different niches or niches. You say niche, I say niche, tomato. Tried a bunch of things out, trying to find a way to make a stable income doing the content creator thing, and it was the wrong thing. It was not aligned with like who I am, and I was repressing who I am. I wasn't writing books or making music or talking about nature. I was talking about video and marketing, kind of, and it was just silly, and you end up sounding like someone else. But I made a satirical reel, some of you may have seen it. It's called What's My Niche, where I played a version of myself as well as a couple other characters at times. And they were kind of funny, but like, so this memoir tells the true story of what I went through, and then that story that I fabricated for the reels, because I was just trying to show how silly it is to like assume a false persona or just like plug content all the time when we have a lot of interests, and really you should be aligning with your interests and what you're into. And yeah, if you feel called to like share that in the world, we live in the best time for that. Newsletters, publishing some stuff on social media, the ease of making video these days, low costs. You should do something that's aligned with who you are. I have a playlist that talks about video. That was the thing that I knew but wasn't that into, so it's linked below in the description. And if you want a guided journal to help you gain clarity over what's most important to you, or obstacles in your life that are holding you back so that you can feel more fulfilled and live a happier life, I have a guided journal that's called Cosmic To-Do List. You can get it for free. The link is also in the description. And yeah, you can just duplicate it in Notion. You have to have a Notion account. It should prompt you to make one. And you fill it out, fill out the prompts, do it all at once, do it over time, come back to it as needed. I recommend coming back to it often and filling it out. And it covers 6 life categories that I think make a human fulfilled. There's been my experience in life. If you want to hear what they are, it's survival, so what you do for work or just to get by, pay bills. And then we have physical health, That's really important. Then relationships, and then we have play and recreation, because that's really important too. And then we have mental fitness, keeping your brain sharp too, and always learning or engaging in some activity. And then creative ritual, which is making time to create and share your self-expression. And there's a lot of ways you can do that. And I talk about that in the guided journal. And there's an expanded version coming soon. Several expanded versions too, in various formats. So if you sign up for any of those, the memoir is a pre-launch list as of the time of this writing. Depending when you see it, it might already be out. But if you pick up any of those, you'll be on my email list, and I'll update you on more content and more soul-aligned living, and just, whatever I'm into. I got some music coming too, hopefully, from songs I've written over the years, and probably some more nature stuff like this. And I'm going to write an epic poem one day about broken shards of Uncompahgre, which is my term for the San Juans. It used to be called Uncompahgre, is the ancient range. And so now it's the broken shards of them. They look like they do now, and they're still beautiful. So yeah, that's why San Juans are my favorite range. And if you like this, feel free to subscribe to my channel. And I'll be publishing all kinds of stuff. I hope you don't miss it. So not just the geological history is fascinating, but also the human history. This place was hard to get to, but humans have only been around for a fraction of the time that these mountains have. And the first humans came around after the Ice Age, as the glaciers started to melt, and they may have summered in these mountains. They actually did find paleo points in the canyon that cuts through these mountains. In the middle of it, just a couple miles to my west from here, they found paleo arrowheads. So there were humans in here, and they may have used the pass that now has the Colorado Trail to go from east slope to west slope, east side of the Continental Divide to the west. And they may have been up here hunting mammoths. There were 9-foot tall ground sloths back then, giant bison, ancestors of the elk as well, deer, elk, moose. I'm sure they hunted it all. And then glaciers melted. Those big animals went extinct, the biggest ones, like the mammoth. And then other tribes would come in here and hunt in the summertime. And that's pretty cool. And then only in recent years, recent human history really, I guess you'd say 1500s, 1600s, the Spanish started coming in. They had an outpost in Santa Fe, and they came in and started exploring and trying to find metals, riches. And the Spanish king demanded a percentage of their profits. So they didn't go on the record books because they didn't want to give the king those profits, because the king didn't give any money to the Santa Fe outpost. They were very poor. So there's been Spanish mining tools and French mining tools found in the San Juan Mountains, and that's pretty cool to me. And then the Americans started coming 1800s, and then it started getting established in the 1870s. They started coming in, and 1880s towns were popping up, and mining sites were popping up, and it was actually more populated in these mountains back then than it is today. And they lived in crazy spots, like high on the mountain, deep in some valleys, where they just get insane amounts of snow. And it didn't last long. The mining days didn't last. The prices of the ores that they mined dropped, and yeah, they never fully recovered. And there's a lot of ruins around here these days of old mining era. And then now, yeah, we got the people that choose to live here, come here, adventure in the mountains. We do have a highway through the range, Highway 550, but it's pretty gnarly, and it can close in the winter. And yeah, that's another reason why I think it's pretty cool here. And let's just take a look at this lake one more time while we're on this scene that I'm shooting in a different location than the main narrative of this video. But yeah, Balsam Lake down there. It's the biggest in the Needle Mountains. So this part of the San Juans. From what I can tell on the map, it's got the most surface area. It's probably pretty deep too. But yeah. All right, I made it up the peak. Look at this view up here. It's insane. There's lakes out on the ledges out there. Over there, I've been to those lakes before. There's a little pond down there. This is just a truly isolated mountain top. It's cliffed out on all sides, except the way we came from that peak over there. It's amazing.